Hey Siri, lights on. See how good that is?
Fucking hell, man.
It's well good, isn't it?
So in episode 1, we discovered the disconnect between DIY founder types and designers, which potentially leads towards them hating each other and wanting to give up. I decided to grill James on the concept of ideas and how important they are.
People can build, it's never been easier to build stuff. But the ideas are still very, very powerful. But it's also the people behind the ideas. Do you know what I mean? I'm very blessed to live in a country that's, well, I'd say pretty well together, but it's not that well together, as you know. But, you know, I'm lucky, do you know what I mean? But there are so many other people around the world, and a lot of people I work with in America, which again is a very lucky country in the whole grand scheme of things. But there are people around the world who don't have $10,000, don't have $20,000. That's almost like a potentially a year's salary, but they've got these great ideas. But there's also kids around the planet at school with these great ideas. I love my friend Nicole Dyson. She works with a company, or she owns a company called Future Anything, and she deals with a load of young entrepreneurs, and these young entrepreneurs kind of enter this kind of competition. And funnily enough, like this year, one of the awards for the winner was me to do their visual identity for free. Do you know what I mean? Nicole just reached out and said, look, we got this dude, he's got this cool little company, would you help me out, or would you like to donate some time? And I was like, fuck yeah, I love it. But do you know what I mean? He wouldn't have been able to afford me at my price. And I've often, as you know, always tried to be as accessible as possible. I've always tried to help people design their own way. I've been creating fucking free content for over a decade, trying to give as much as I can to people, free newsletters, free courses, obviously got some paid courses, but it's always been focused towards people who understand design. And I think now with this big shift that's happening in the world, where now anybody potentially has the power to create something, to design, how can I help those people without an art school background, without any creative background, without any design background? How can I help them understand in super simple, no design snobbery, fluffy, wankery terms, how to build shit that's actually going to help them? Because the other beautiful thing about, I think, doing that, because there'll be probably a lot of colleagues, or in fact a lot of my friends who are designers understand how much I want to help people, so they won't give a shit, but there'll be a lot of twats on the internet, and everybody's got their opinion, and they'll be saying, oh my god, you're taking my job, and I'm like, no I'm not, because you didn't want to work with this client in the first place. Do you know what I mean?
Exactly, exactly.
But there's also if I can help these people build a brand or business, the foundations of their business, and they can do it by themselves, DIY it by themselves, that might turn into a big business, which will then hire a designer. They'll be able to invest in a designer because they've been given a chance early enough to build a business.
So this is step 1 then?
It feels like I'm committing to something that I'm not too sure I should commit to.
Well, let's go. Let's go with it. It's cool.
Yeah? Let's go? Yeah, let's go.
It seemed to me we were onto something powerful, but to add a bit of context, I asked James about the first idea he had that turned into a thing.
Do you want coffee?
Yes, mate.
Oh, sure, did you see that?
Summer feasts made easy.
Best thing in the house, but also the most annoying. I love coffee, but fucking hell, this thing is just shockingly poorly designed.
Tell me about your journey with your career from the start, when you realised what you wanted to do.
So I think the first time a big kind of lightning bolt in my head, and it wasn't necessarily about an idea for a business or an idea for anything like that. Does it matter if the fucking thing's on? No, it's fucking gone. Do you know what I mean? And I've talked about it online. was the moment when, like, after another drug-induced drum and bass night at Enzo's in Salisbury, do you know what I mean? Lying in bed, realising that I was messing up my life a little bit. That was probably the first moment where it wasn't necessarily an idea, it was a realisation that I need to change something because I'm either going to end up in jail or dead.
Sounds more like a survival plan.
I think, lucky enough, I did hit that down here spot and decided to change it rather than continue going. So I'm very lucky in that regards. But after that, obviously I went to college. Then that college got me onto uni, and I was working all sorts of jobs. Do you know what I mean? Like bar jobs and factory jobs and everything in between. And as I was kind of going through like schooling and college and design and all the rest of it, and uni and Southampton, Solent and stuff like that, I started to gain a little bit of love for design. I think what I loved the most was more the distraction of having something to do rather than just like having nowhere to go. Do you know what I mean? Like the factory jobs that I was working at, I was lasting like 2 weeks, like 4 weeks. I would do it, and I was just like, this is just not for me. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
This is just not where I was supposed to be. And I've always enjoyed art. You know, I was never like overly bright, but that's hotter than I expected it to be. Kate must have been making some bread. Yeah, kind of always been like, I would say, more creative than intelligent, although creativity is intelligence, I get that.
100%.
But I was never particularly, I would say, classically bright when it comes to like English, math, sciences and all that kind of stuff. I was more like design, sport, art. And then as I kind of progressed in the design world, I started to get a little bit more into it. And then the idea, I had to start my own business, Baby Giant, which it was at that time, which I would kind of classify as the first proper business, because that's the first one that was incorporated and taxman shit. Do you know what I mean? You know, that all kind of came about as I was working at a smaller studio local to me here. Learned a huge amount there. Did a little bit of everything. We did it was called I Relish Media. We did like MMS stuff, bit of like Flash, web, applications, like building games for like Coca-Cola and stuff like that. It was very, very cool. It was a great opportunity for me as a junior designer. And then that company was kind of winding down, and it was like 2008, do you know what I mean? The financial crisis, I think, back then, and like things were going topsy-turvy, and they were just kind of winding down the business. And then myself and another chap there, Edie, who was my business partner for a long time, decided, you know, going through that I suppose that's the birth of the first idea. But back then I was incredibly shit at design, pretty shit like at business, and it was just a matter of just starting something. But you know, luckily I had a little bit of a design now, so knew we needed a logo, knew we needed a website. We had loads of time because we didn't have a lot of work on, so we just started building stuff. And that was probably the first kind of like time that I took ownership of an idea and became a entrepreneur or founder or person who has idea and executes idea.
It was pretty evident that James's idea to make something of himself as a designer really ended up making sense long term. And considering how many creative humans look up to him for guidance and inspiration, I wonder about those of us out there who have the idea but don't have the means to make it. Stay tuned for episode 3, where we dig into the complexities of building a business and what it takes to break through. We really want to keep doing this for all of you out there, so it'd mean a lot for us if you hit that subscribe button and shared this amongst your mates. Until next time.